You're just trying to always build around what somebody does well. What is the DNA, the nucleus of what they do? Yeah. And everybody who gets to the tour is great at something because they're the top 1% of the 1% of golfers around the world. So I think people sometimes forget that, that won't work. Well, if you'd gone back 15 years, people would look at Scottie Scheffler and probably go, that's not going to work.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on the island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
It's a Monday Fun Day right here on the early line. This is the SportsGrid Network, and many of us in the Northeast are absolutely buried in snow. Now, the one thing that could happen today is what happens if the, lights go out over here in DRS's studio and Joe's got to go a full 2 hours here. He'll love it. Why? Because he's Captain America today. Did you watch what happened in the Olympics over the weekend? Gold medals were flying, the best performance in the history of the Olympics for the United States side, which culminated in a gold medal, absolutely overtime thriller on Sunday. We'll get to that much more, Joe. My goodness, the energy is feeling good this morning, Joe. How about it?
Yeah, USA, Donnie, unbelievable what we got yesterday. Unfortunate for you guys in the Northeast that you're snowed in right now, but I know you'll be all right, Donnie. You'll be okay. You're used to this kind of weather. I know you are.
We are used to this. And by the way, Tom and I were live doing a baseball show while the hockey game was going on. Who says we don't cover everything you need to know right here on the SportsGrid Network? But it is cold in the Northeast. There is 16 plus inches of snow outside of my house. Grab a cup of coffee out here because you know what happens now? Joe Ranieri delivers you live the absolute best topic of the day, regardless. If we even have a stinger, Joe, I know you're going to bring this. Bring it, Joe. Bring it, Joe.
I'm ready, man. All right, Donnie. It's very simple here yesterday. And I thought it was actually kind of cool because yesterday we witnessed something, Donnie, that, doesn't happen very often in modern sports anymore, right? We got a genuine, undeniable, where were you when moment, Donnie? And at 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, the entire country stopped. Bars were open at 5 a.m. out in California. New York suspended alcohol laws just so pubs could open early. MLB clubhouses paused their spring training workouts. NFL players at the Combine were huddled around TVs in airport bars. And what were we all watching? Yeah, we were watching Team USA take down Team Canada 2-1 in overtime to win their first men's Olympic hockey gold medal since 1980. And that, of course, Donnie, famous Miracle on Ice. And let's be totally honest about how it happened. It wasn't just a win. It was grand larceny in many aspects. And it was orchestrated by one of the greatest goaltenders on the planet. Now, on paper, Canada was an absolute wagon, and we know that. They had the speed, they had the depth, and in the second period, the ice was tilted so far in Canada's favor, I thought the rink was going to slide into the Mediterranean. But Connor Hellebuck said, not today. This is a 3-time Vezina winner, the defending Hart Trophy MVP, who has had to answer questions about his playoff demons for years. But yesterday, he exercised every single one of them. 41 of 42 shots he stopped. He robbed Connor McDavid on a breakaway. He denied Macklin Celebrini on a breakaway. That desperation paddle save on Taves with a wide open net that literally defied physics. If Team USA has anybody else between the pipes, Canada wins that game in a blowout. But instead, the kid from Commerce, Michigan, built a brick wall. And to everyone whining this morning that a gold medal shouldn't be decided in 3-on-3 overtime, get over it. Canada had a 5-on-3 power play in the second period. Could have ended the game there. They had breakaway after breakaway. They had more than enough chances to finish the job in regulation, but Hellebuck wouldn't let him. Instead, we got to watch Jack Hughes, missing half his teeth, by the way, from a high stick earlier, wire the puck through the 5-hole, throw his helmet into the rafters, and cement himself as an American hero. This is what made yesterday so special. Because in an era, Donnie, where we're constantly complaining that the athletes are making multi-millions of dollars and just going through the motions, we finally saw the exact opposite. These are NHL superstars. These guys make multi-millions of dollars. They have massive contracts and hardware at home. And what did we get, Donnie? Well, yeah, yesterday they laid it all on the line, bled on the ice, and played with desperate white-knuckle passion for nothing more than a piece of gold and the letters USA stitched across their chests. They gave the next generation of American hockey players a reason to go to the rink today. So hats off to Team USA. You did it. And by the way, if your voice isn't hoarse from screaming at your TV yesterday, well then, Donnie, you just didn't do it right.
It was fantastic to watch. It just was. And like, oh, you got to wake up at 8 a.m. to watch this. By the time you got to overtime, I can't wait to see what the overall ratings are. But it's exactly what we wanted. So many times, Joe, we don't get what we wanted, right? Like, oh, I can't wait for the gold medal game, USA versus Canada. Somebody gets tripped up in the semifinals or the quarterfinals and never makes it there. They deliver that and much more. And also understand this, as we bring in the early lineup here, the men's and the women's team both went to extras here in overtime. Both won by the same exact score, 2-1 for the U.S. side here. Absolutely fantastic Olympics all the way through. And by the way, shout out to Milan there. They did an unbelievable job. NBC was fantastic. And you can only hope for in 2028 when the Summer Olympics come around, Joe, that we get each the same thing. But congratulations to the men's and the women's hockey team. Fantastic all the way through. So much fun to watch. And you hit the nail on the head, Joe, with what you're saying. Sometimes it just takes a great performance. But also, Joe, real quick on this. Hellebuck, not the MVP? Come on now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, Donnie, I mean, if it wasn't for him, they don't win that. They're not even in that. That game is over. TVs were turned off. He was the reason, but we've seen that a lot. But kudos to every one of those guys laying it out there, not for a paycheck, Donnie, but to represent the U.S. of A.
By the way, also yesterday, saw Tiger lurking around a golf course. Not playing yet, but the Genesis was. And how about this? Jacob Bridgman holds off Rory McIlroy at a late surge on the back nine here. Fun-looking golf course. And for me, again, in the Northeast, getting buried in snow. It looked beautiful out there at this point. Beautiful, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, that was also, I mean, really, really nice, especially for you guys in the poor Northeast there. Had to be watching sunny, beautiful Southern California. But Jacob Bridgman, my goodness, what a difference a day makes. Went from 64, held on to 72, but was he ever really in danger of losing that? It never felt like it, though. But Rory and Kitayama, congratulations, a 64 to go up to second, made himself almost $2 million there. But the old guard, too, Adam Scott, still showing up in top five. And you know who was lurking, Donnie. You know who was lurking once again after opening up with a 74. Unreal.
Shot a 74 to open. You see him in the low 60s on the Sunday. Makes you laugh. What a horrible performance. He finished like 10th or 12th in that tournament here. Just imagine if he actually starts to play well early in that tournament. It'd be fantastic to watch it play out here. NFL style here. How about this? Not expected to ban the tush push. You got to be kidding me. What? Because the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl and dominate with it? Everybody's happy? Hey, Buffalo Bills, you wanted to cancel it. Now you use the tush push more than anybody else with Josh Allen. Hypocrites, all of them, Joe.
Every one of them, Donnie, and it's so funny because the Eagles weren't a part of the postseason picture, and everyone stopped. Out of sight, out of mind, right, Donnie? Nobody was talking about the tush push in the postseason, were they? Well, there you go. Now it's safe, so you can continue to do it better than everyone else.
Tyrese Halliburton, shingles. He's going to stay away from the basketball team, and he's injured as well. What's this guy doing off the court?
How do you get adult chicken pox? Like, I don't even know how that's possible. But okay, in his prime, like an athlete in his prime. But hopefully he gets back better. Lose the shingles and get the knees ready to go here for next season.
Yeah, crazy stuff as it boils down to. How about this? You look at this good story here. Floyd Mayweather Jr. I got so much money, I'm spending it all over the place. Can somebody get a fight for me so I can get more money here in my pocket? What happened to Floyd? How much money did he blow, Joe?
And just like that, I can't wait for Mike Tyson to lay him out. I mean, like, you got, like, come on, what are we doing, Floyd? What are we doing?
By the way, also with Floyd, like, we just saw Mike Tyson in a fight that we were supposed to believe was real, and the other guy, which was the Paul brother, didn't want to punch him because he didn't want to hurt him. Now we're led to believe that these two guys are going to be punching each other. Stop the madness. We saw this already. Rondale Moore, a bit of bad news here. Passed away over the weekend. Looks like allegedly by suicide. Get some help, people, if you need it here. Young, bright star in the NFL gone way too soon, Joe.
Just terrible story. Absolutely terrible. Great Purdue player, and just injuries just, derailed his NFL career for, unfortunately.
Unbelievable stuff here. And by the way, Hannes Wagner, why can't I find a Hannes Wagner in my basement or in my... Hey, grandfather saved this for you. Here it is, Hannes Wagner, which I had. We'll be right back. Much more coming on the early line. Let's not go to break, Joe. Not.
Obviously, I wanted to play golf. Like, I grew up in England. I came to America on a scholarship because my aspiration was to play the European Tour. And then once I got to America, it was like the PGA Tour. And I think I'd always had kind of this affinity for, like, the swing and coaching and teaching, and tinkering is probably the best way to say it. I'd say that's probably, which is a dangerous road to go, right?
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
St. Louis's defense, the best in conference play, which includes the best three-point shooting percentage against and also two-point shooting percentage against. You take a look at Loyola's offense, we pointed out to you the worst in conference play, and also they turn the basketball over 22% of the time, which basically means 1 out of every 4 times up the court, Joe, they don't even get a shot off. They're going to get their doors blown off tonight.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
Spreadlines on a Monday. Gotta love it here. And by the way, you might look at that college basketball card tonight and say, there's barely any games, but they are giving us, Joe, a nice big Monday here at 7 o'clock and 9 p.m. So why don't we start our spread lines right here with Houston and Kansas from Allen Fieldhouse. Taking a look at the start time for this, 9 o'clock overnight, Joe. -1.5 as a road team favorite for Houston. You wake up this morning, now we're seeing 2.5s across the board as a favorite for the Houston Cougars. The total in this game also on the rise, 135.5 or so. They're now up to 137.5 and as high as 138.5, depending on where you're shopping at. The number one offense in the Big 12 coming to town, that's Houston. The number 2 defense in the Big 12 coming to town, that is Houston, Joe. Give me a spread line. Houston, Kansas tonight.
Donnie, just to give folks an idea of what's going on here, because the numbers are absurd here. Either Kansas is going to lose 2 straight at Allen Fieldhouse, and Bill Self is going to lose his first ever Big Monday game at Allen Fieldhouse, where, by the way, he is 40-0 at Kansas, or Houston is about to lose 3 straight. A team that before the week had lost a total of 5 games in their time in the Big 12. Neither seems feasible. Can there be a tie, Donnie? Yep. Is there a prop for a tie here? Listen, it's a coin flip, right? Both of these teams seem to be reeling right now. Not embarrassing loss, the worst kind against Cincinnati at home over the weekend for Kansas. Listen, no shame in Houston in losing to Arizona, even at home, but my goodness here, something has got to give between these two teams. You want to talk about a true coin flip? That's what this game is here tonight, Donnie. Which team shows up? It should be a must-watch game here tonight for sure.
I'll tell you what else is must-watch, too. Darren Peterson, does he want to play 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or maybe not even play at all tonight? That's always half the game here, showing up and seeing. He's perfect for the NBA. We don't know if this guy's playing on a day-to-day basis. Make sure you watch right up till game time. And even sometimes at game time, you know what? I'm feeling a little under the weather tonight. I think I'll sit this one out. Always fun. Houston, Kansas. That'll be center stage at 9 p.m. Let's flip it over to the ACC, Joe. 7 o'clock start tonight. That's between Louisville and North Carolina. Overnight, that line sitting at 2.5. Still sitting at most outlets right now, Joe, 2.5. The line that's moving here is the actual total, 160.5 or so. Now seeing it 162.5 across the board. I love matchups like this. Louisville plays with a lot of tempo. Louisville absolutely loves to shoot the three-point shot. And my favorite part about this, a team that is number 1 in shot attempts from three-point range in conference play, going up against a team, Joe, that's 18th at defending the three-point line here. If the 3 ball goes down, Louisville should overpower them. But Louisville's the road team tonight, Joe. Give me a spread line, Louisville and North Carolina in the ACC.
Well, because we're getting ready to close out the month of February, Donnie, right? It's crunch time here. And now this game is not that important in terms of the ACC title race. But, Donnie, as you know, the ACC champion, the tournament there, is a little different, right? Because the ACC gives out double buys. And right now you got 5 teams that are 10-4, 10-5, or 9-5, and only 2 of them can get a top 4 seed. So the top 4 seeds get a double bye, and this is the game that is going to decide. Could it be Louisville, or is it going to be North Carolina here? But you're right, Donnie. Forget the side. I'm kind of looking at the total here, and something tells me North Carolina does not defend the 3 all that well. Something tells me there's going to be a ton of points in this game, and that's the way I would focus. I'd look at the total between these two teams.
Tempo. We'll see how it fills out at this point, Joe. And also, not a huge card in college basketball. We just went over 2 really good games that you can sink your teeth into. How about the association tonight, Joe? I'm tracking 3 total games tonight, but also giving us a really good one right off the bat at 7 o'clock. The San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama in town to face the Detroit Pistons. This line overnight, Joe, right around 2.5 at most outlets, but now I'm seeing -1.5 just about everywhere. Still a favorite for the Detroit Pistons. A total which opened up at 233.5, now sits at 230.5. Give me a spread line tonight, Joe. Spurs versus Pistons.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge 3-game homestand here against not only do they have San Antonio tonight, but they have Oklahoma City on Wednesday. And we know Detroit has established themselves as one of the better teams in the East, Donnie, right? But now we're going to learn a little something about them going up against the competition in the West, which everyone seems to think is going to be way better than anything the East can bring to the table. I don't know that you want to get in front of this train right now, Donnie, at all. And I'm kind of shocked it's only a point and a half right now. It feels like, listen, we know San Antonio and Wemby are on a different planet, but my goodness, this Detroit Pistons team plays great team basketball. They're physical, they're tough as nails, and of course they have what I think is very well the MVP of the league in Cade Cunningham.
Sacramento Kings going to take on the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, Joe. Overnight numbers here, -4.5 as a favorite towards the home team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Most of the marketplace still sitting at -4.5. The total in this game in the mid-230s, 233.5, 234.5, depending on where you're shopping at. Kings and the Grizzlies tonight in the association, Joe. Give me a spread line here.
Mark this down. This will be one of the very few times remaining where Memphis is a favorite and the Kings are only a 4.5-point dog, Donnie. You've got a Kings team that is trying to break a franchise record 16-game losing streak right now. The good news is they got to go up against a team in Memphis that has just lost 5 of their past 6 games here. And, no John Morant to be found to save them here. No, nothing. I can't imagine this game staying under the total in any way, shape, or form. There will be 0 defense played in this game here tonight. Just look at the over, because that's where these two teams are going to go.
Utah Jazz and the Houston Rockets, the final of a 3-game set in the association. 9:30 start tonight, Joe. 2-touchdown favorite plus almost. The opening line, 15.5, Joe. Some outlets now showing 13.5, but the prevailing line is right around 14 to 14.5 as a favorite towards the Rockets. A total of 226.5. The Deadwood Jazz taking on the Houston Rockets. Is it worth that 14-point line? What's your spread line for this one, Joe?
Well, we know one team is tanking and one team is not. We also know the Rockets are very good defensively at home, Donnie. This feels like maybe a good spot to maybe a Utah Jazz team total under here, Donnie. I can see the Rockets pulling away and winning this one easily. I'm not running to the window to lay, 14 and 2 touchdowns or more, but I think the Jazz team total under might be the best look in this game.
2 good college basketball games, 3 games in the association. Those are the spread lines here for a Monday. Let's get back to the Olympics and put a bow on exactly what happened right here on the early line. We'll be right back.
Obviously, I wanted to play golf. Like, I grew up in England. I came to America on a scholarship because my aspiration was to play the European Tour. And then once I got to America, it was like the PGA Tour. And I think I'd always had kind of this affinity for like the swing and coaching and teaching, and tinkering is probably the best way to say it. I say that's probably, which is a dangerous road to go, right?
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Lewis's defense, the best in conference play, which includes the best 3-point shooting percentage against and also 2-point shooting percentage against. You take a look at Loyola's offense, we pointed out to you the worst in conference play, and also they turn the basketball over 22% of the time, which basically means 1 out of every 4 times up the court, Joe, they don't even get a shot off. They're going to get their doors blown off tonight.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
bronze medals, 33 total medals to finish in second place. It was a sensational Olympics. Norway, lights out. Team USA, fantastic.
I mean, what a showing, Donnie, right? And it all culminated with that final overtime win there for the men hockey to get the gold. It just could not have ended any better here. I mean, I think a record, right? Most record number of gold medals we've ever won in the Winter Olympics. What a showing. And listen, we all knew Norway was a big favorite to win the most golds as well as the most overall medals. Donnie, we knew that, and it was a big drop-off between them and Team USA in the prediction markets. But kudos to Italy, too, the host nation, because they way more medals than I ever would have imagined that they got there. What a showing they put on, too, those athletes.
Now, Joe, do you want to break down Houston, Kansas once again? You want to continue with the Olympics? You know, let's toss up in the air right now at this point.
Again, we can just rewind and let you know that is the game to watch. Much like the hockey game was the one to watch yesterday, this is the game tonight that you're going to want to watch between Houston and Kansas. You'll be good to go. That's all right. If you missed the top spread lines, we're good. We're going to cover it again. That's it. We're going to cover it.
You ever see the show in the final minute of a game right here in an NBA game? That's what we'll do right now if you want to. But the Olympics were hot yesterday. And by the way, the storyline show in the Olympics were absolutely fantastic. So many new superstars that were introduced to us, and also 12 gold medals, the most ever in the Winter Olympics. And also understand this, Joe, we opened up talking about the Winter Olympics. 8.5 was that gold medal total. And I think it surged up to around 11.5 or 12.5 by the time it was over. And the U.S. played 12 of those bad boys. A lot of superstars going all the way around. And again, capped off by the team events. Hockey and women's, hockey men's, both gold medals. Great job by the Americans at the Olympics this year.
Huge job. I mean, honestly, Donnie. And don't forget, we talked about it a couple of times over the Olympics where there were a few events where there might have been some shady judging going on where, so one or two of the athletes should have won gold, but had to settle for the silver. But either which way, 33 total medals. Best showing the U.S. has had in a very long time in the Winter Olympics.
And by the way, a lot of these networks, Joe, look at the Olympics like, I don't know if it's a good, smart investment to make it here. But how about this? NBC's big bet on the Olympics looks smart as Milan's audience up 94% from Beijing.
Huge.
I don't know if it was the storylines that come out or the pros were there, but I just felt like even though it was halfway across the world where you weren't getting the action in prime time, I thought the coverage was great and also the storylines. And it doesn't help in the United States where the teams and the individuals are doing well also.
Huge, Donnie. I thought the placement of it, I thought the times they even replayed everything, and the ability for you to, they really clamped down on the whole clips and things that you could see on social media. They controlled everything, and it was done like you didn't know anything ahead of time. They controlled everything very well there, which I think added to the hype in a lot of it, and I thought Tirico was phenomenal.
They were really good. And also, give a shout-out to Italy as well. Being the home country hosting it, you want to put on a good performance. They dropped 30 medals in the Olympics, a record for Italy. Great. Look, the Americans were great. The hometown team was great. Norway was off the charts. You got exactly what you wanted. But when the home team also participates and also is at the top of the standings, great stuff.
It was huge, Donnie. I mean, it really, really was. And by the way, I don't know how Snoop Dogg ended up being the face of the Winter Olympics. But whatever. I'm all for it, man. I thought it was fantastic. And having that closing ceremony, by the way, in that Coliseum there, also outstanding stuff. Really cool.
And now the handoff takes place, Joe. The Olympic flag is officially handed over to France. The French Alps will host the Winter Olympics in 2030, Joe.
And, Donnie, it'll be here before we know it.
By the way,
it really will.
Joe, and also, 6 Olympic golds by one person at the Winter Games here. Norway, that dude is the Nordic king, Klæbo. 6 golds, man. Amazing.
Huge. Yeah, huge individual performances. But he was a big reason why they were the favorite, too.
I'll tell you a big reason why we did watch some of these ratings. You couldn't get away from the TV. Must watch yesterday. Let's talk about it more. We're heading back to the Olympics right here.
obviously I wanted to play golf. Like, I grew up in England. I came to America on a scholarship because my aspiration was to play the European Tour. And then once I got to America, it was like the PGA Tour. And I think I'd always had kind of this affinity for like the swing and coaching and teaching, and tinkering is probably the best way to say it. I'd say that's probably, which is a dangerous road to go, right?
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
St. Louis's defense, the best in conference play, which includes the best three-point shooting percentage against and also two-point shooting percentage against. You take a look at Loyola's offense, we pointed out to you the worst in conference play, and also they turn the basketball over 22% of the time, which basically means 1 out of every 4 times up the court, Joe, they don't even get a shot off. They're going to get their doors blown off tonight.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
Where were you yesterday in the morning? Were you watching The Miracle on Ice Part 2? Well, not necessarily where the pros were the Russians back in 1980 and a couple college kids. You got some high-priced talent on Team USA and also on Team Canada. But many people, Joe, were upset. How could you do this to us? It's 8 a.m. on the East Coast. It's 5 p.m. on the West Coast. Well, it was a weekend here. And by the time everybody woke up, got their cup of coffee, and even if they missed the start, you know they were tuned in. It was spectacular hockey, which saw Boldy with a freak goal to start that game, splitting 2 defenders and putting the puck past the goalie to make it 1-0 here. And then you said, all right, Binnington, let's see if you can stand on your head the rest of the way. And he did in regulation. And Connor Hellebuck was absolutely fantastic. And it took an absolute rocket from Cale Makar to make it 1-1 before we got to overtime. If you love hockey, you don't have to love NHL hockey. If you just love high-stakes environments where both countries absolutely want to win and are spilling blood out there, you got it yesterday in the 2-1 victory by Team USA, Joe.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And yes, you know, like I had said, Donnie, it felt like grand larceny there at one point, because I still, to this moment, have no idea how it is that Team Canada didn't score more than 1 goal. I really, there were a couple of opportunities there. But on the flip side, good point about Binnington. They weren't as often. Obviously, he didn't have to face 42 shots like Hellebuck did, but he had to face some shots, and he made some really big saves in that third period in order to make sure they protected that lead, protected the tie, and eventually got it to overtime. But you could not have asked for a better ending to the Olympics and a better effort from. Well, Donnie, these aren't amateurs. These are all multi-million-dollar NHL players who weren't getting a check. The only thing they were playing for was pride of their country, and that kind of effort, sign me up for that any day. That was amazing stuff.
And the rivalry is fantastic, right? Because you had the buildup in the 4 nations and before that. And every time these two teams meet in the Olympics, when the pros are out there, it just ramps everything up. Like, you're getting the best of the best on the ice at the same time. That's exactly what you got all the way through. And then again, it ends in overtime at 2-1, which is the only way it was supposed to. Now, you might have said, some controversy and why go to 3-on-3, which sometimes you see the point of that. But also you see this as well, Joe. Well, wait, they just played 60 minutes to a tie. We're going to play another 60 minutes here and play all night.
Right.
And who gets tired first scores. You knew once you got to overtime, Joe, in 3-on-3, I don't care how good the goalies are, you get the best of the best with open ice, and it didn't take more than 2 minutes before the United States put one past Bennington and won that game 2-1. You got everything that you wanted to watch, including, Joe, a U.S. Olympic penalty kill throughout the Olympics that was like, yeah, we'll go a man down. You're not scoring. How about going 2 men down? And how many times, Joe, you watch NHL hockey? Oh, 2-man advantage. You got 15 seconds before then you have to kill that off. You almost did it for a full 2 minutes, it felt like, and they still held it off. You had so many peaks and valleys. Double minor here that Team USA was going to get late in the third period, which turned into a power play eventually for Canada. You had everything you wanted to watch, depending on what side you wanted here, and exactly what you got in overtime victory. I love to watch it. The theater was awesome on a Sunday morning.
Donnie, again, we don't get them very often, but it's one of those stories that anybody who witnessed it in 6 months, a year, 10 years, you tell your kids, you tell your grandkids. It always starts with, I remember when, right?
Yeah.
Donnie, I remember exactly what I was doing when this happened. And in sports, have there been a ton of Olympic moments that we can go to? Yeah, the 1980, the Miracle on Ice was unbelievable, but that yesterday felt like, bars opening at 5 a.m. in California, everywhere around the country. It just felt like that was a Stanley Cup Game 7, right? But maybe even more so because those guys weren't playing for like a cup here for the NHL. They were playing strictly for their country, and it just the whole thing ratcheted up, and it felt unbelievable. You could feel it through the TV. And by the way, also great call. The guys that were actually calling the game too. Oh my goodness, fantastic stuff.
No, it was good. Like, I thought the coverage on both sides too, and even like I know you had I think the CBC had one side, the US had one side, but Wayne Gretzky was early on the telecast on the American side of things, just breaking down how much it meant for each country and what you were going to watch. And as I said to open the show, Joe, so many times like, hey, I can't wait to watch these two teams meet in the gold medal, and something gets ruined or players get injured too much or you can't watch it at that point. They gave you everything you needed. Also, it wasn't easy getting there, specifically for the Canadian side. What, back-to-back 3 straight overtime games was it that they had just to even get to the gold medal game? You had 2 overtime, then obviously the overtime in the gold medal effort, but it was Connor Hellebuck standing on his head for USA, and you knew it was going to happen, Joe. Americans get the first goal here to go 1-0, and they even interviewed, I think, Kachuk after the game. It's like, maybe that was a bad thing because that ice tilted the rest of the way. We're like, okay, we're up 1-0. Let's see if we can just hold them off, which usually gets you in trouble. Makar scores late in the second period, and even in the third period, Canada was the better team. Once it opened up there, Team USA puts the dagger in there to win that 2-1. How about this story? Brock Nelson brings home the 4th men's hockey gold medal to his family, Joe. His grandfather and great uncle were part of the 1960 group that won the gold, and his uncle played on the 80 winning team. Now he plays on the team that won in 2026. 4 gold medals in one family. It's not like you win a gold medal every year, Joe. That's incredible.
I thought the stories, Donnie. I mean, it could not have culminated any better. And NBC is going to be the big winner because I'm telling you right now, that is going to be the most watched single event of any Olympics in a very, very long time. And the fact that Mike Eruzione was actually there with the team there, I mean, unbelievable. And look at all the brothers on the team, right? I mean, the Hughes brothers, and you had the Kachuk brothers. These guys are all part of a generation that grew up watching and wanting to be a part of this. So it's good to see that, maybe not amateurs, but you know what? The pros still care and still have a little pride in them.
I think they were talking to Hughes after the game, and he was basically explaining, how the brotherhood of, American hockey, same thing with Canada. Can you imagine, being at the Olympics, and it's like, all right, we're going to have some speakers come in just to get you a little fired up and meet the guys. Like, Eruzione comes in probably the day before the game. He goes, man, tomorrow, 40th plus anniversary here of when we did the Miracle on Ice and we knocked off the Soviets here. Go out and make, you just get filled up with so much pride. Like, we can't let these other generations down at this point, and they certainly did. And by the way, Jack Hughes, you want to talk about, as we say, Joe, they don't really get paid for the Olympics. I think it's $37,000 if you actually win the gold medal, which is chump change to these guys playing for hundreds of millions of dollars in the NHL. But you want to go down and like be able to tell your kids something and just pictures that will be in books and across social media. Jack Hughes with the American flag around his neck here, the busted up teeth and the big smile with his fist in the air. You talk about like iconic images over the past. That's one you're going to see now where you saw like, hey, Ruzioni raising his gloves up and this the miracle and happened. Yes, it did. Not the case anymore at this point. Jack Hughes also now going to be put on that pedestal where 40 years later, when you're old telling your kids like, hey, I was around for that one. That Hughes kid, he was amazing.
And it's amazing that they, these guys are all teammates. Like, Hughes and company there, the Kachuk brothers, they're all, there's a lot of guys that are on TV, that are on teams that, their teammates were across the ice from them there. So really cool stuff.
Yeah, no, it was great stuff all the way through. And also, understand this, Joe. When Joe talks about big business in the NHL, how about this tweet from Front Office Sports, Joe? $226.5 million in combined NHL salary. That's for the American team. Most expensive roster at the Olympics. Revenge on Canada for the Four Nations. First Olympic gold medal since the Miracle on Ice. The U.S. men's hockey team is absolutely big business here. Sidney Crosby got his third Olympic medal as well. Certainly not happy. And Joe, the one thing that I do get a kick out if you're at the Olympics is you understand that when you win the gold medal, you can't wait to get that medal around your neck. You can't wait to sit and hug all the boys here and look up there and you see the American flag and you get to sing your national anthem. But you sort of did feel for the Canadian team, which devastated their entire nation, getting a silver medal. And then what I couldn't get to stop laughing at was then they hand them those little like stuffed bears and they're like, you've got to be kidding me, Joe.
Unbelievable, Donnie. Yeah. Just unbelievable. Nice stuffed animal, though, they got. That was good. Nice consolation prize.
They're going to be up on eBay. Nice. You'll probably sell them for a pretty penny really quick here. We'll be right back to SportsGrid Network.
Obviously, I wanted to play golf. Like, I grew up in England. I came to America on a scholarship because my aspiration was to play the European Tour. And then once I got to America, it was like the PGA Tour. And I think I'd always had kind of this affinity for like the swing and coaching and teaching and tinkering is probably the best way to say it. That's probably, which is a dangerous road to go, right?
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Lewis's defense, the best in conference play, which includes the best three-point shooting percentage against and also two-point shooting percentage against. You take a look at Loyola's offense, we pointed out to you the worst in conference play, and also they turn the basketball over 22% of the time, which basically means 1 out of every 4 times up the court, Joe, they don't even get a shot off. They're going to get their doors blown off tonight.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
On the early line to SportsGrid Network here. It doesn't matter if there's a major snowstorm here on the East Coast, which a lot of us are here, and Joe Ranieri's down in South Florida enjoying himself and laughing at us. But Tom Vecchio, he's right in the middle of it. Tom, let's get right to the fun here and talk about what we saw yesterday. And what I mean by yesterday is We were doing a live Major League Baseball show, as Tom and I do every single week, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. here. And he said, you know what? Let's look ahead and have fun. We said, wait a second now. 8:10 start for the Olympic game, the gold medal between the Team United States and also Team Canada. How can we do it, Joe? But by the way, as I explained it to you, we went on the air live with one eye going this way, one eye giving you Major League Baseball time. It was phenomenal stuff yesterday, and it worked out perfectly for us. What's good, man?
It really did. This is a long time coming. I remember watching the 2010 gold medal loss to Team Canada at the Vancouver Olympics. I was a freshman in college at that time. So 16 years later, I've been waiting for Team USA to win the gold. They finally came through. It was an awesome game. It was an awesome run up to the gold medal game through, the steps that they had to take, the overtime win versus Sweden, the trouncing of Slovakia, and obviously taking down their biggest rival. So unbelievable game. NHL starts back up on Wednesday. The trade deadline is next week, and it is crunch time for these NHL teams.
It really is, Tom. I mean, celebration aside, and I love Nate McKinnon's comment about how, you tell me who the best team was. Well, the best team, Nate, is the one wearing the gold medal. It's really that simple. But what happens now moving forward here? First of all, how do you even bet the NHL with teams like Minnesota had half their team here, and there are some teams that had so many guys. So what's the game plan here of betting the NHL once it gets back with these guys?
That's something I've been trying to, wrap my brain around for especially the last week, like being ready for the second half of the season for NHL. I would say it's easy just to scale things back, go with, half units. I think that's a general thing, but it's a team by team handicapping, really. When we look at a team like New Jersey, it's not just like, oh, they had Jack Hughes there. It's like, well, they also had Nico Hirscher was on Team Switzerland, so he wasn't there. Like they go down the list. Jonas Siegenthaler wasn't there. He was on Switzerland as well. So you have to go team by team. Like, listen, Colorado and Vegas, teams that are often very heavy favorites at home, had 5 or 6 players, a third of their team, playing in these games. They're playing multiple games. So I wouldn't be looking to lay heavy money. I'd be looking for money lines that are, minus 125 or closer to even money, or just taking plus money because we don't know what we're going to get. Then we're also going to see a depletion of talent from some rosters because the trade deadline is coming up. We know that the Rangers traded Artemi Panarin to the Kings. There's obviously talks that they're going to trade Vinny Trocheck, who's on Team USA, to someone else. So their talent pool is going to get even weaker. So it's a combination of teams that have players that are, under-rested and have played more, and also the talent's going to be moving away from teams.
Yeah, going to be a tough one starting up. And again, it's not just like, hey, all-star break, take 3 or 4 days off. They were off for weeks at this point. Now, understand this. They're professional athletes, and you trust that they stayed in shape. But it's not game shape where you come back. And also, some of the biggest superstars in the sport, when you're talking about playing Team Canada and Team USA, those guys gave it their all. Winners, yes, they're going to want to celebrate. And then you have sort of a lull when you get back to your own NHL team. And then the guys from Team Canada here, you're going to have a lull because that was such a big letdown there. It's like, okay, now I got to go back to my team. And also understand this. Some teams are jockeying for playoff positioning, going to make a run at the Stanley Cup, and other teams like, I got to go back to this bad team and I got to carry them here. I just lost in the Olympics, or I won in the Olympics. That certainly could play into it, but a lot of fun to be had at the Olympics here. U.S. wins the gold medal. Canada comes in with that silver medal here. Tom, yesterday, as we did again, watching this game and also going over some Major League Baseball, we spent a lot of time talking about the American League, which the New York Yankees right now are the favorites here to win the pennant at a plus 470 price, followed closely by the Seattle Mariners, then the Blue Jays, Red Sox, and the Orioles. AL East, certainly heavy, but I know a lot of times we were talking about like, hey, is there any other teams, Tom, that could be involved? Give me some other teams that you're looking for to win the pennant, as opposed to, let's just say, the Yankees, the Mariners, or the Blue Jays.
We talked about this yesterday. The top of the odds board for the AL pennant is terrible. I hate it. I really do. And it really comes down to Detroit. How do we have the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and the Orioles, 4 teams from the AL East with better AL pennant odds compared to the Tigers, who are the favorites to win their own division? The Orioles have the 4th best odds to win the AL East, yet they have the 5th best odds to win the AL pennant. Something about that just doesn't make sense. Again, I believe that the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Mariners essentially should be in their own tier. If you told me that they're all co-favorites to win the AL. Sure, there shouldn't be too much of a separation. Then you want to mix in the Red Sox. Then you want to mix in the Tigers. That's where it should be. It should be Tigers, Red Sox, actually. So I don't like looking to any of those top teams, especially not the Orioles. And Orioles, a team, as we talked about yesterday, Donnie, who have a 10-win jump from their win total last year to this year. And now we're putting them as higher favorites compared to the Tigers. I just don't like the AL odds board.
Well, who is it in the National League, Tom, that we should keep an eye on that, will jump what they were a year ago? Like you had mentioned, I mean, a 10-win difference between a year ago and this year could be huge. I know a lot of people think San Francisco is all of a sudden now going to be the second best team in the National League West here. Who is that team that's going to make a big jump from a year ago?
So I do like the Giants. I like them going over their win total of 81.5. I think they've had a large improvement in talent. But going from non-playoff team to all of a sudden like some amazing team, I think that's a step much. Like, I think they'll be better than last year, but they're not taking this massive leap. To me, the answer, based on the odds, I still think it's going to be the Braves. And the Braves, I would say, had a really bad run at things last year when it comes to injuries. Strider starts off the year hurt. He comes back. He's having catch in the outfield when they're visiting Toronto Blue Jays. He gets hurt again. He's out again. Acuna, we know this. We know that they're not going to be starting off the year with Schwallenbach. He missed parts of last year. Smith-Shawver missed parts of last year. Riley Green, not the Tigers. Austin Riley, their third baseman, had a down year. Like, they just didn't have all their pieces together at the same time. But when you look at the talent that they have, that so much of it's locked up long term, they are still one of the best talent-based teams when it comes to the NL. Putting the pieces together and actually being healthy is a different story, but I'm always going to like the Braves.
Quick little rapid fire for you, Tom. American League NL MVPs here. Who would you rather take, Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani? Who has the better chance non-odds here?
I would say Judge. I really do. I think just the home runs, and I'm not sure if there's many players to compete for it. In the NL, if Ohtani even has a little bit of a down year, and again, if Acuna does what he did back in 2022, 2023 with a 40 and 80, that could win an MVP.
Major League Baseball coming to you soon. Already playing in the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League. Before you know it, it will be March the 25th. We'll be right back. Thanks, Tom, for joining us this morning.
Obviously, I wanted to play golf. Like, I grew up in England. I came to America on a scholarship because my aspiration was to play the European Tour. And then once I got to America, it was like the PGA Tour. And I think I'd always had kind of this affinity for like the swing and coaching and teaching and tinkering is probably the best way to say it. I'd say that's probably, which is a dangerous road to go, right?
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Lewis's defense, the best in conference play, which includes the best three-point shooting percentage against and also two-point shooting percentage against. You take a look at Loyola's offense, we pointed out to you the worst in conference play, and also they turn the basket over 22% of the time, which basically means 1 out of every 4 times up the court, Joe, they don't even get a shot off. They're going to get their doors blown off tonight.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
Let's brighten your day. You might be watching from the Northeast right now, absolutely buried under snow, just like I am. Or you could be watching from South Florida and enjoying yourself like Joe Ranieri is down there. You might get the best of both worlds. It's what we give you each and every morning right here on the early line. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. But it is time for the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League here to take control and take us right into the World Baseball Classic and then eventually into opening day. But now, Joe, here's the issue. We're going to enjoy this Major League Baseball season. We're going to handicap, we're going to bet, we're going to do a ton of shows and enjoy ourselves. But December 1st, 2026, that's when the CBA expires in Major League Baseball, and the labor deal will be up in the air. But the new interim leader here of the Major League Baseball Players Association has been named. It's Bruce Meyer. And he reiterates, Joe, his position. Yeah, there will be no salary cap. What do you think about that? Shot fired.
I mean, listen, and from what we hear, he was really the guy, pulling all the strings behind the scenes anyway. So I doubt very much that now that he is in charge, even on an interim basis, that anything is going to change. Their stance is still going to be there, Donnie. And we're still heading towards a lockout. I mean, you opened that can of worms for how many years? And I just don't see how you're putting that back in the bottle. I really don't. That genie's out, Donnie.
Like when you say, like, we have to come to a compromise, like the owners aren't going to be like, the players will go like, yeah, nope. No salary cap, but we would like a floor in Major League Baseball of $150 million. The owners go, so we spend more both ways on both ends and burn the candle that way? That's the problem that we're going to have. And starting on time, good luck. There's no way, shape, or form. Like you look at the Kalshi Poly Market Index this year, Joe, like, okay, well, we have a lockout by there's no way they come to a deal before December. They're not going to they're not even going to get to the table before we get to spring training, it feels like. So I don't know, Joe, if they're stupid enough to wipe out a season. They're going to both posture on both sides. No salary cap, $75 million war chest on the other side. But I'm going to tell you one thing. We are going to have a season, Joe, that I feel that starts like around the 4th of July, and it's a 2-month sprint, and 20 teams are in the playoffs to try to make back their money in the regular season with some extra gates here. There is no way. I just can't see it. Tom and I go back and forth on pro baseball today. He thinks there'll be a full Major League Baseball season. I say, absolutely, Joe, zero chance at that happening.
No, I think they're going to be so worlds apart, Donnie. And, listen, I'll be an optimist. I hope that listen, we've known this is coming for a while now. So I'm hoping there are some back channels open or something is going on behind the scenes where, this won't all be everyone digging in right off the bat. You know what I mean? I'm hoping they can come up with something, but so I just have this feeling, Donnie, they are just going to be so far apart, and it's not going to matter one way or the other.
And you're going to see this, too. You see it a little bit in the NFL whenever they have, like, labor-type issues. It's the smaller market teams that will band together and grab enough votes that no matter what happens, they can't ratify, like, a new CBA unless they get their way. They are going to be dug in here. And the people that are going to play, it's not the pro players. They're going to have plenty of money, and they'll probably have their own war chest. And the, Major League Baseball owners, it's us, the fans, that are going to get cheaped out of a season next year when you know that's going to happen. By the way, the Minnesota Twins, who basically sold their whole team last year, it felt like, hey, Buxton's coming back, and that's all fine and good. They already lost Pablo Lopez, and now all-star right-hander Joe Ryan, inflammation in his lower back. Lower back inflammation, just getting started on the season. Good luck with that, Joe Ryan.
Yeah, not good. It was also an issue for him a little bit last year, too. So, guys coming in to spring training and already experiencing some of that's not a good sign for the Minnesota Twins or Joe Ryan.
Hey, coming to save the day for Chicago Cubs, Michael Conforto. He used to be a superstar with the New York Mets. I can't even count the teams that he's been on since then, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, the ultimate guy, right? He'll probably have like 9 uniforms when it's all said and done that he's worn in Major League Baseball. But listen, he keeps getting signed, right? Bottom line, he serves his purpose, but he's not going to be a guy that's going to move the needle one way or the other. But he is a guy that will absolutely create some depth for some teams.
You want to move the needle here for the New York Yankees. They didn't have Garrett Cole last year, but Garrett Cole feels great from yesterday after facing hitters for the first time. Topping out at 97, getting back into the groove, Garrett Cole.
Yeah, all reports out of Yankees camp that it's, he looks really, really good. No discomfort, no nothing. That is a great sign. Now it's just a matter of, all right, how long, can we stretch him out? Because pitch limits are coming for a lot of these guys here. We won't be seeing them for 5, 6, 7 innings anytime soon.
By the way, Bryce Harper was advocating for a reunion to the Philadelphia Phillies for Rhys Hoskins, and Dave Dombrowski told him to pound sand. Not a good look here in Philadelphia. But again, I don't know where Rhys Hoskins was going to go, but he does go to the Guardians. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. I wonder if he bet on that. Is this too soon? That's brutal. Absolutely.
I'll tell you what's not too
Guardians.
soon here. Hour number 2 coming up next, right here on the Grid.